Hi, and welcome to Watch It Played. My name is Rodney Smith, and in this video, we're going to learn the classic 2 to 4 player game, Labyrinth, designed by Max J. Cobbard and published by Ravensburger, who helped sponsor this video. Here, you're on the hunt for treasures and magical creatures, and you'd have an easier time finding them if the walls of this maze would just stop shifting around. But there's no chance of that, and besides, that's half the fun. So join me at the table, and let's learn how to play. To set up, find the tiles with this back, known as the path tiles, and then give them a good mix face down. Then set this game board in the center of the play area, and you'll notice it has some tiles already permanently stuck to it. These are anchored in place and won't move. We now put all of the path tiles we had mixed face up, randomly filling in the empty blue spaces of the board. And when you're done, it will look something like this. You'll then have one tile left over that you just leave face up nearby for now. Next, each person picks a playing piece in their chosen color. We'll assume we have 3 players in this video and return the unchosen piece back to the box. You then set your piece on the corner tile of the board that shows your matching colored spot. The cards with this back are the treasures. Shuffle and deal them evenly to all the players. So in this 3-player game, we'd get 8 each. Don't look at the cards you were dealt. Instead, leave them in a face-down stack in front of yourself. And that's the setup. In Labyrinth, you and the other players will each have treasures that you're secretly trying to collect by moving through the maze, but its walls may block you from where you need to go. Thankfully, the maze can be manipulated to create new paths, so you'll have to be clever to figure out how to get where you need to go in order to find all of your treasures before your opponents find theirs, because the player who first finds all of their treasures will win. At the start of the game, each player will secretly draw the top card of their treasure deck and examine it. Now, you can always look at this top treasure, but keep it a secret from the other players. Then, starting with a random first player and going clockwise around and around the table, players take turns. And on your turn, you perform 2 steps, starting with moving the maze. Here you take the path tile that's beside the board and put it adjacent to any other tile directly beside one of the 12 arrows that go around the outside edge of the board. We'll pick this one. You now rotate the tile however you like and then push it in the direction of the arrow. And you'll keep pushing until it's in the exact spot of the tile that it pushed into. And as you do this, it causes the tile at the other end of that row to fall out. And you'll leave that tile beside the arrow where it fell out. This will be important later, as we'll see. Before moving on, I just wanted to show you an example of something else that can happen in the game when you're pushing the tiles. It might be that you or another player's piece is on the tile that gets pushed off. And if so, you immediately move that piece to the opposite side of the board onto the tile that was just added. Okay, so step 1 of your turn is pushing a new tile into the labyrinth. And as we saw, this changes the layout of the labyrinth itself. So you'll want to consider how this may help or hurt you as you prepare to take the next step of your turn, moving your piece. Here, you can move your piece from wherever it is to any other tile as long as you can trace an open path to it. For example, with our red piece here, we can travel anywhere within this highlighted area. But that raises an important question. Where exactly are we trying to go? Remember, you're holding a treasure card, and this will show the treasure or magical creature you're trying to find in the labyrinth. And here, we're trying to find the black cat. The black cat is here in the maze, and there are no open paths that would get us into its space. But perhaps we'd move here on our turn just to get closer to it. That said, if you ever don't want to move your piece at all on your turn, you don't have to. Either way, after you've added a tile to the maze and then moved your piece, your turn is over, and the next player in clockwise order goes, performing the same 2 steps. Just keep in mind you must always add a tile to the maze before you move your piece, even if your piece can already get to your treasure. For example, this player here, they're trying to get to this sword, and their path already takes them there. But they must add a tile to the maze first, so they'll probably want to add it somewhere that doesn't change this current path. Also, it's important to know that when adding a tile to the maze, you can never add it to the same space it had previously fallen out of. Remember, when the red player took their turn, they added a tile here, and that pushed this tile out. We leave this tile here so that the next player knows they cannot add this tile back to this space. They'll have to put it somewhere else. So let's say it's the green player's turn, and they decide to add this tile here. Now they can move their piece, but before they do, let me just set another player's piece here to show you that when moving, you can go through other players or even end on their space. The only thing you can't do is go through walls. Now let's say that the player came to this spot. If you ever end your move on a space that matches the treasure card you are holding, you reveal the treasure you were after, set it face up, and then draw the next card on top of your treasure stack. This is the new treasure that you'll be going after on your next turn. But again, keep that new treasure a secret from the other players. And turns will continue like this, with players first adding a tile to the board and then moving their piece until one player has found all of the treasures in their stack, making them the winner. Just keep in mind, you can't collect a treasure until it's your turn. So let's say for a second that the red player was taking their turn and they added this tile here. Well, this is going to push the blue player off the board, and as we said earlier, that moves them to the tile on the opposite side. This blue player is now standing on the green beetle, and it just so happens that's the treasure card they're trying to collect. However, they can't collect it right now because it's not their turn. I should mention, if you're playing with younger children, you can instead have players lay all of their treasures face up in front of themselves at the beginning of the game, and on a turn, you can go after any one of your treasures. When you find one, you then turn that card face down. And once all of a player's cards are face down, they win. Otherwise, that's how you play Labyrinth. If you have any questions at all about anything you saw here, feel free to put them in the comments below, and I'll gladly answer them as soon as I get a chance. You'll also find forums for discussion, pictures, other videos, and lots more over on the games page at Board Game Geek, and I'll put a link to that in the description below. And if you found this video helpful, please consider giving it a like, subscribing, and clicking that little bell icon so you get notification anytime we post a new video. And if you'd like to support us directly, you can join our Patreon team, which I'll have linked below. But until next time, thanks for watching.